Welcome everyone to this meeting this evening. I remind everyone that the meeting is being live streamed to YouTube. Item 1, apologies. Are there any apologies, please?
We have apologies from Councillors Jeffreys and Gilby. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any members joining online remotely? I think I can see Councillor Bidwell. Thank you.
Yes, Leader, I'm here.
Thank you. I remind people who are present in the room, you may vote. Anyone joining remotely cannot vote. Item 2, declaration of interests. I'll ask if there's any declarations of interest, please. And there's both disposable pecuniary or affected interests. Has anyone got any declaration of interest? No? Thank you. Item 3 in the minutes. Are there any matters arising or points of accuracy from the minutes, please? None? Thank you. Then I will propose that the minutes are adopted as a correct record. Can I ask for a seconder?
Councillor Pennell, second.
Thank you. Can I ask for a show of hands, all those in favour of adopting the minutes? Thank you. Item 4, urgent items of business. Are there any urgent items of business?
None received, Chairman.
Thank you. Right. Item 5 is the Cabinet decisions item, and this is the Council Plan Overview Report. And this is the only item really on the agenda, so it's really good that we can give this a really good airing, because often it's included with a lot of other things and we don't give it the time sometimes that it deserves. This report notes the performance and the progress of the Council July to September. It's the second such one, which is related to the Council Plan 2023-27 and reflects our manifesto. These reports help us review performance, highlight the exceptions, and notes any remedial action needed. It's also reviewed by the Overview and Scrutiny Committee. The actions and indicators are reported under the 4 strategic priorities of the Council. And I'll just go to those if I can. So the first one is under engagement, engage in healthy communities. There's thriving in a connected economy, green and sustainable environment, ambitious, resilient and sustainable organisations. And on page 31 of this report, you will see the different highlights, except I've gone past it, I think. No, I'm here. And the highlights are there under engage in healthy communities. There's the first things that have been achieved, real achievements, wide-ranging practice support for all local Muslim, Black and Asian communities was offered during period of national civil unrest in the summer and continues through partnership working and really is ongoing. Early help assessments relaunched to strengthen right help, right place, right time support. Bracknell Forest Pride celebration celebrated the diversity of the LGBTQIA+ community, and that included for the first time an accessible parade. A family fun-filled culture and community day brought a wide range of cultures together and celebrated 75th anniversary of Bracknell as a new town. The Approaching Adulthood Guide for SEND young people 14+ years was co-produced, outlining pathways into employment, training, good health and independent living. The Bracknell Forest Civilian Military Partnership agreed new terms of reference, and development is underway of a 3-year action plan. The South East Fostering Regional Hub and Bracknell Forest Mockingbird was launched, funded by the Department of Education, and the Minister came down to launch that with us. 100% of all schools in the borough were judged as judged as good or outstanding by Ofsted. The Forest Spa opened, completing the refurbishment of the Bracknell Forest Leisure Centre. Under thriving and connected economies, The council supported various school-based career events promoting opportunities at the council, plus it hosted a Business Insight Day for Year 10 students. And the Bracknell Forest Skills Hub launched, funded by the UK Shared Prosperity Fund. Over 50 local businesses, training providers and partners attended. All carriageway resurfacing planned for 24-25 were completed. The public consultation of the town centre supplementary planning document was completed. Feedback was incorporated into the final version for adoption in October. The Community Infrastructure Levy, the SIL, receipts totalled in excess of £50 million. Under Green Sustainable Environment, the second annual Bracknell Forest Council Climate Change Summit took place with over 150 representatives from across the borough coming together to start the development of a community climate change strategy, and we thank 3M for hosting that. Climate change summits were facilitated by primary and secondary schools, engaging 20 schools, although almost 100 pupils. And we thank Sandhurst School for the secondary and Garth Hill School for hosting the primary. The second year of Solar Together launched 600 plus expressions of interest were received from households interested in solar panels and other energy efficient technologies. The Bracknell Forest Biodiversity Action Plan was developed with partners and approved by Council. Bracknell Forest Council and the Lexicon were recognised as Bees Needs Champions in 2024, celebrating exceptional efforts to support pollinators. Buckless Forest was awarded a Best Wildlife Site at the Land Trust Conference in July, following designation as a local wildlife site earlier in the year. New accessible guides were produced for Popes Meadows, Savernake Park and Westmoreland Park to improve green space accessibility, information online for residents and visitors. Under ambitious, resilient and sustainable organisation, a new corporate complaints policy was introduced, reflecting the local government and social care ombudsman complaint handling code, improving resident experience and applying learning. The contact centre's callback service launched enabling residents to request automatic callback rather than wait in a queue. The UK general election for Bracknell's constituency was successfully delivered, plus support for Royal Borough, Windsor and Maidenhead. The Bracknell Forest Depot project was completed, providing new and refurbished facilities for the borough's maintenance teams, and that is a really sustainable build. Challenges identified and being addressed. The following challenge were being managed during this section, July to September. A forecasted overspend was primarily due to persistently increasing demand and cost of providing adult and children's social care services. The position is better than reported at Q1 due to the application of mitigating action, and the Council remains in a better position than many other local authorities. However, difficult decisions will be required to secure the Council's long-term financial sustainability. A significant and continued increase in number of requests for education, health and care needs assessment remains. However, the SEND service is now fully recruited with permanent staff and prioritising issuing EHC plans within the statutory 20 weeks. Recruitment of registered building inspectors continues to be difficult due to a shortage of candidates possessing appropriate licences. Additional pressure is due to the collapse of a private sector building control provider. Challenges in street cleansing and ground maintenance were experienced due to staffing shortages. A new management team is addressing these issues with a focus on improving service delivery through better scheduling and routing. Unexpected and additional activity across the Council took place during the summer related to national civil unrest. Enhanced engagement and support to the community was provided. Work continues with partners aiming to further strengthen community cohesion and tackling discrimination. This activity will be overseen by a new community resilience and cohesion partnership. I would like to ask now if the officer would, I think it's Katie online. Oh, all right, thank you. In fact, our Chief Executive Officer, Susan Hallowell, would you like to add anything that I've missed out?
Thank you, Leader. I think what you've articulated there is the strong delivery record that we had over Q2. This report has gone through overview and scrutiny as well, so they have had oversight of that, but it was before Christmas, so a slight delay in reporting back through that process. What I would say is I echo the view that we can give this a suitable airing at this meeting, and notably, for example, I just wanted to highlight the progress that actually we're now making on some of the savings where, for example, they're RAG rated red against, for example, street lighting and the RAG rating against the car parking pressure for the High Street car park. Welcome questions around those sort of areas, because actually we've made a lot of progress, and we would expect the Q3 report that will be coming through for those to be definitely different colours because we made progress. So I wouldn't have anything further to add to the detail that you've given there, Leader, but very happy to field any questions.
Thank you. Is there anyone who would like to ask any questions? For now.
Thank you, Leader. I just want to pick up on the improvement on the indicator regarding street and neighbourhood cleansing standards. I'm aware that this was raised by the Scrutiny Commission, and I've been working to find out what steps were taken to improve this position for Q3. I'm delighted to see the indicator is now green, and my understanding is that this is following improvements in staffing and an increase in management knowledge of the contract. The team are working hard with CLL to monitor contractual performance, and this will continue. We know there are still challenges and possibly bumps in the road, but this marks a significant improvement. Would you agree with that, Chief Executive, and is that your understanding as well?
Yes, very much so. I think a good example where when you do see a change in management, sometimes you do see a need then to spend some additional time just on the details of that contract to make sure that we're maintaining standards. And it's correct that things have improved for Q3, so it will be a different report coming through on that.
Thank you. Are there any other questions at all? Councillor Wright.
Thank you, Chair. It's really good to see that there's no longer a backlog of the Council processing EHCPs, Educational Health and Care Plans, which is great to hear and reflects the hard work of the SEND team. I'm interested to read also that this was achieved despite there being an increase in children requesting EHCPs or families requesting EHCPs in the borough, and would like to know how much that increase has been by in percentage or real numbers. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you for your question, very topical. So just in terms of some of the data, that the period we're looking at is the end of quarter two. So if we consider the 1st of October 24 as the closest date to that we have. So at that point we had 1,589 Bracknell funded education, health and care plans. So this compares to a figure of 1,412 Bracknell Forest education, health and care plans on the 1st of October 23. So that's an increase of 12.5% year on year between the 2 years, which is around the normal profile for Bracknell, having looked back a little bit further, and compares to a national growth rate of over 10% year on year. You'll be aware that the council funded put additional investment into the SEND team last year, and as part of our improvement journey, which we have been on for some time, the backlog of education, health and care plans is constantly monitored, and it does get reported on a fortnightly basis to the team and to senior managers. So since the new staffing structure was implemented last year, that backlog has been steadily falling, and we reached a point at 31st of December 24 where there was no longer any backlog on education, health and care plans. I know people are keen to understand the pressure on that team, because that team is often the focus of lots of conversations. In terms of moving forward, what we're going to have to do is ensure that we're appropriately monitoring the workload of that team, because the balance between the progressing and the coordination of the education, health and care plans, and also the annual reviews. So it is something that we will continue to closely monitor, the workload of that team, and in addition, the growth numbers in education, health and care plans too.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Councillor Bailey?
Yes, thank you. Can I first say how impressed I am with the rigour, time and effort and put into the detailed report here. So thank you for all of that. Councillor Wright has saved me one of my questions because I was going to ask the same question. But the other question I'm going to pose now for Gráinne, in terms of complaints in education and learning, it is concerning to note that 84% are upheld. There are clearly important learnings for the council to ensure residents feel their complaints are being processed in a timely and effective way. Are you confident that these learnings will be captured? Finally, my understanding is that the current method for complaints analysis relies solely or predominantly on quantitative data. Can you confirm that in future a mixed methods approach, including the use of qualitative data, will be used? In my view, this will provide more robust analysis and lead to more consistent and reliable responses. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Bailey, for that very considered question. And it's been really helpful having significant lines of inquiry in relation to complaints in various different meetings, which has resulted in us considering how we present the information from complaints. So the figure that you reference, 84%, are those where there's an element of an upheld complaint. It's not the total picture. So, for example, it does say 84% of complaints have been upheld, but there were 20 that were fully upheld and 46 that were partially upheld. So even if there are a whole number of complaints, say if there were 6 and one of them is partially upheld, in the way the information was presented, it's showing as within that 84% as upheld. So that's different to the information that we receive at a management team, where we do report on the partially upheld, etc. So for us, of the 79 complaints, 25% were upheld and 58% were partially upheld. So what we've agreed to do in the Q3 report that we're just finalising is be really clear about the numbers of complaints, the types of complaints, and linking, rather than just having, we do have a general view of the finding from complaints and the learning from complaints, and that's just put as a generic statement and list, but it doesn't link to the complaint in the report we receive. In the background, the information that officers use does include the actual complaint and then the finding from the complaint and how it's used. So what we're going to do for the next report of this nature is be really clear about this was the complaint, this was the outcome of the complaint, this was what's changed, and this is the learning. So that we're going to give some examples, so to make it more explicit for readers of the report, and just to bring that to life. So we do have both the qualitative and the quantitative data. It's just in the way it's been compiled for this report, it's not evident in this report. So each of our monitoring reports will be specific to the quarter, and it can be presented differently. So, and just to be clear as well, we do actually monitor the compliments we receive as well, and for that same period. So we had 79 complaints and 70 compliments also that we note, and we'll find a way of including those also. So it's about ensuring that going forward, you've got the appropriate level of information in this report to have the appropriate information and make the appropriate judgments. So thank you for that feedback, and hopefully going forward we can continue to improve on how we're presenting this information to you.
Thank you for that comprehensive answer. Thank you.
Councillor Now?
Thank you, Leader. Yeah, I've got a couple more if I just say them both together. So the expected savings as a result of the new operating model in adult social care to support and promote independence have not been realised. There has been no reduction in the number of people in receipt of long-term care. Is this because there's been an increase in new clients needing long-term care, or has the model not had the outcomes expected? My second question is that it's good to see a reduction of young care leavers not in employment or training. What has been provided to them to help with this trend?
So thank you. I'll deal with those in turn because I'm not able to give you a comprehensive response to the second one. But in terms of the first one, colleagues will have heard discussions about the new operating model, which basically means when our residents approach us for some support and services, we now spend more time giving people information, advice, simple pieces of equipment to enable them to live at home for longer. We provide reablement and rehab and assistive technology to support those individuals to carry on living their lives in the community for as long as we possibly can. The approaches that we've had over the period have significantly increased. So we have had a significant increase in people, as you would expect, as people age, in people approaching us for services. But we want to ensure that we're supporting people to live full, healthy, active lives for as long as possible in the community. So that is the approach within the new model. So equipment, advice, support. If somebody's had something that's happened to them, they've been in hospital, there's been a change in their circumstances, we try to support those individuals to get back to where they were before and live in that healthy, full quality of life back in the community. So just to say, increase in demand, so the numbers approaching have increased. But what we can see when we talk about reablement, which is where people, when they're not very well and they're struggling to get upstairs or manage around the kitchen to do the self-care and look after themselves properly, previously our model didn't include reablement, which is again a bit of rehab at home in the community. It only supported people coming out of hospital. So we've had a 25% increase in people in receipt of reablement, so a significant number of those who are in the community. So providing those options for remaining at home, focusing on getting a little bit better, a little bit stronger, a little bit of physio if needed, bit of equipment, practicing things at home with a bit of care and support till the individual's better. So the numbers coming through the front door have increased significantly, and those preventative interventions have gone up in terms of the numbers. What we've been able to do is actually keep the numbers in receipt of services relatively static. So it's cost avoidance. So the money that if we hadn't have implemented a preventative model, preventative approach and supporting people to remain independent, the cost to adult social care would have been significantly higher, and the quality of life for individuals would have been significantly poorer, which is more important. So the new model will aid that going forward. In terms of the people in receipt of long-term services, so we have people who are being supported in the community. There's evidence of increasing complexity for those people who are living in the community for longer and with increasing amounts of care and support, so where it's long term. And also the numbers in residential and nursing care are remaining relatively static. What we can advise is, so we'll have a number of ins, so number of new people, a number of people leaving for various different reasons. What you'd hope as somebody is supported in the community, and then if they have to go into bed-based care, which is residential or nursing, that they spend as little time as possible towards the end of their life in nursing care. So what we've had to look at is the amount of time people are spending in heavy-end nursing care. And pre-COVID, we were at a certain level where people did go into residential and nursing care towards the end of their lives. So they're living full healthy lives for as long as possible in the shortest possible time then in a nursing care or more restrictive environment. During the COVID period, when Health were commissioning the nursing beds and care beds, we still have a cohort of people who were placed in care during that period, who have been in that type of revision for longer. For some of them, we have supported individuals to move back out into the community where appropriate. But since post-COVID, and whilst we've been placing people, we've gone back to the length of time that people are in the more restrictive care, which is generally nursing care. The length of time is reduced again. So we do have this cohort of people who were placed during COVID who are still within that nursing care period. So as those individuals' life changes, then we do expect to see some of those numbers going down. At any one time, though, we do have about 100 people who are supported in short-term services. So if somebody's come out of hospital and they might have some intensive, they might have living care for a period during assessment. So at any time, we're also paying for individuals to have short-term care to support them to get back on their feet, or whilst transitioning to whatever that long-term care arrangement is. So at any time, that's about 100 people. And just looking at the figures for last year, that was about £1 million for the short-term services. So it's not just people in our long-term care and support. The model also supports people to have some really intensive support whilst we're then supporting them to get better, because ultimately you should never make a long-term decision when someone's at a point of crisis. So that's the answer to that one. Remind me of the NEAT one, because I haven't got that detail. Sorry, Councillor, I will have to get back to you on that with that response.
No, that's all right. Thank you for that, Grania. That was really, really thorough and interesting. It was good to see the reduction of young care leavers in not in employment or training. Question was what has been provided to them to help this trend?
Yeah, okay. And Roy's asked me a similar question recently, and we're in the process of compiling that report for me anyway, because we've got both the work that we're doing within our children's social care service and also the work we're doing within education and learning. And so we're looking at that from both perspectives. So what I will do is provide a response outside of the meeting, but Roy's already been promised a comprehensive report on that, plus action plans. So that will come through another route anyway for Roy to monitor and oversee. So hopefully he'll be in a position to give you a comprehensive response next time too.
Lovely. Thank you, Grania. Look forward to it, Roy.
Can I ask a question, please, of Stuart McKellar, which is about the budget? Because it says in the this report that the expenditure projected to be overexpended was 0.248 above approved budget, but the emerging issues included this would rise to 1.598 million, and it says that there are discussions every week. So have you got a latest report on this, please, to see what is happening?
Yes, Leader, I can provide a response to that question, which I'm sure would have been asked of Councillor Neil in a few minutes. I can report that the position being reported to the corporate management team tomorrow has changed quite significantly from that for the better. So the starting point headline is a £550,000 underspend. Once the emerging issues and risks are added, that rises to around a £580,000 overspend potentially. So somewhere around plus or minus £500,000. So we are still more than 2 months away from the financial year end, so things can happen. But it does look as though there's a strong likelihood that spending by the end of the year will be at or close to the approved budget, which is good news.
Thank you. Would you like to ask any other question, Councillor Neil? Sorry. Well, I would. On the overview and scrutiny, they looked at, there was some questions about the car parking in Market Street, and it said that the car park, the High Street car park was closed, and there was a request for the evaluation officer or the valuation office agency to remove the property from the listing, and they declined. And would you like to give an update on that at all, please?
I can give an update on that one, just from because that's from the property service, just to say that valuation office appeal was successful, so we are no longer having to pay the rates on that property, which is beneficial for our budget position.
So how much does that relieve us a little of?
I think the pressure in the budget was somewhere around about 130,000, something in that remit.
It's a very good
So it's a
decision then.
It's a
Very
good
good
decision.
decision. Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? Councillor Wright?
Thank you, Chair. I just have 2 more questions for Gráinne Siggins with regards to her portfolio. I noticed that there's an overspend in fleet and transport costs due to more journeys being made. And is this due to more journeys being made, or is it due to existing journeys being costing more? So that was one question about transport for, I think it's for SEND children with special educational needs. And then also, what is the number of young people who are not in employment, education or training? It seems that it's improved, but I just wondered what the actual number was. Thank you.
Let's start with the latter first. So number of young people not in education and training, it is a specific indicator with a specific definition. Now, I don't have that definition detail. So what I will do, I'll provide you details of the specific definition, because the number does change because it is a specific age range of children, young people. What we have provided before, sorry, I'm struggling to get the document up on the screen. What we have provided before is a more detailed narrative about the quantum of individuals. So if it's not included in the paper, I'll make sure that we do include that in every single report, because previously we provided the ones where for specific reasons it's not been possible. Their circumstances are such that they can't be supported at this moment in time to go into education, employment or training. So we'll make sure that if that isn't included in the document, that we've included that in future ones. So I'll separately send you the figure and make sure that we're including that update in all future ones, so it continues to be included. In terms of the transport, so from a home to school transport perspective, not broader fleet, we have had an increase in the children, young people utilising home to school transport. We, as you know, we do have a number of children who are eligible for home school transport for out of borough schools too. So what we have been doing is looking at the efficiency of the routes, looking at the services that we commission in order to deliver those routes, and what alternative opportunities we can consider and implement in order to be more efficient. So when you do see the budget report for next year, you'll see that some of those changes recommended in there do aim to address some of the increasing costs that have emerged within home to school transport.
I'd like to ask you. Oh, sorry, Gráinne Siggins, Director of People. One question that was asked for me while we were doing the consultation on the budget, actually, because it does say that adult in social services are being helped by assistive technology. Have you got any illustration of what assistive technology is? What people are using and is helping them, and the outcomes from that use, please.
Yes, I'm just trying to think what we could provide you with next time to give you an indication of this. Megan, Councillor Wright, has seen a recent report indicating the types of interventions that are available. As an authority, we've had a focus on assistive technology. We have moved, as you know, to digital equipment, and we do consider the latest equipment that is becoming available. So we provide the equipment at all phases of somebody in receipt of their care journey, and often we might have someone who so looking at the very complex end, somebody where it's unclear whether or not somebody can be supported at home and whether or not they need to go into a nursing care or residential care environment. So in those situations, we will often provide a high level of care and support, but also electronic devices of various descriptions to monitor somebody's movement and the support that they might need, and that consists. It can be sensors on doors, beds. It can be able to track somebody's movement at night, especially where they're confused, to see if they're opening doors and whether they're sleeping. So a whole range of monitoring, a range of different companies, including the Just Check-In. So we can monitor somebody 24 hours, their movements at home, to see what they're doing during that time. So we have the very complex end, and then we will assess and review what those movements have been during that period. It is about assessing risk, because we do have a focus on something called risk enablement, because we do want to support people to remain back at home. And we have various different other devices, so where people are worried and they need to call family, relatives, so the emergency, just basic community alarms. We give something called grab bags now for people coming out of hospital, so as some level of pendant or alarm, so that links back to a monitoring station for a period of time, so that they can quickly call help and support if they need it. But there are a range of sensors and various different devices that are available, and pages, so that people can call help and support. But we can provide more information on that if councillors would like.
Thank you. That's really interesting as well, and well done, because I think that really does help everybody. Right. Are there any other questions? None? Right. I would like to move the recommendation to 1 on page 23. Can I ask for a seconder, please?
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy to second.
Thank you. I don't think there's much more for me to say, except this has been a really comprehensive look at this report. And I would just like to tell you that during the time it tells you how many actions there are across the whole report. And across the whole council, there were 116 actions reported. 10 were complete, 1 was not started, 1 was no longer required, and 104 were started. 81 are green, 19 amber, 4 are red, and I think this is a really, really positive quarter to report on. So I would like to move this report. Would the seconder like to speak?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, please. This report covers July to September 2024. It was a busy quarter, the highlight of which for me was having adult social care rated good by the Care Quality Commission. It had been inspected in the previous quarter. Being inspected less than 6 months after transformation work in the Directorate, this rating reflects the hard work and excellent practice by a team of professionals all focused on providing the best possible service. It is good to see the quarterly reports are carefully aligned to the Council plan. Measurable indicators of success, of which there are many, are in line with what we hope to achieve in this administration. What is also reassuring to read is the self-reflection and willingness to go back to the drawing board when an initiative isn't having the desired results. It is great to have such openness and honesty in our council, to work with a team who objectively scrutinise their actions and are quick to introduce mitigating measures. This means we can reach our goals and have real impact. This report covers the period 14 months after our administration was elected in, and it is great to see such results. So thank you to everyone involved.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Councillor Neal.
Thank you, Leader. I would just like to add that obviously the report shows that there had been an improvement in the budgeted position from Q1 to Q2, and obviously we've heard again tonight that the position has improved since then as well. So I just wanted to extend my thanks to officers for all their hard work, for monitoring and all the actions that have been taken to keep us in this position. And again, I just think it shows that, you know, the reputation that Bracknell has for sound financial management carries on. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak? Sorry. Is there anyone online who would like to speak? Councillor Bidwell, would you like to add anything? No? Okay. Oh, yes?
Yeah, but no, but yeah, but no, but no. I think I've read through the report. It's pretty good, but I don't think there's anything else I can really add to that. I think it's all been explained. Thank you.
Thank you. For me to move to sum up, I think I've summed up. I think I've said enough. It is a really good report. There's so much detail in here, and I would like to say that when things are going well, there's full explanation of what has led to that, what has been put in to secure the target. And there's also, when things are not so well, there's lots of reasons explained in there to what is being done to mitigate the missed target. And I think that's so informative and so important. So I would now ask for a vote. So all those in favour, raise your hand, please. Thank you. Confirmed. Right, I think that's all for this evening's, so I would like to close the meeting.